Chris Lutz recording Billy Powell, Atlanta, Georgia, 1995. Mr. Powell, can you tell us where and when you were born?
Well, I was born in 1934 in Atlanta, Georgia, off of Ashby Street.
Oh, Ashby Street. What's that?
On White Avenue. My mother died in 39, and my father died in 39. I have 3 brothers and a sister. And I had 4 aunts and uncles, and each one of them took one of us and raised us here in Atlanta. And I attended Roosevelt High School, which used to be the old girls' high, and they changed it over to co-educational. Quit school when I was 17 in the 10th grade, and went in the Navy, went to the Korea, and in Busan, and made the Incheon invasion, and came out of that. And then in '54, I participated in the hydrogen test in the Pacific Ocean, and perfected some type radiation protection. And
hang on now, I want you to, we're going to take you back now.
Okay, all right, I just got to bring you up to where I am.
Right.
Then I come back.
Were you raised in the same part of Atlanta you were born in?
Basically West End, and but I was basically raised around Grant Park area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm native of Grant Park.
Okay. What was it like back then?
Oh, it's beautiful. Nice, maybe middle class suburb. And Park was real woodsy, you know, and
did they have a zoo?
yeah, they had a little zoo and a swimming pool and a lake you could roll in, and of course the cyclorama was the big draw, you know.
Yeah.
And,
did you go to the cyclorama when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, I go a bunch of times, still go. I love it.
I send my students there. So.
Yeah, it's, I think it's fabulous. It's a shame the Polish had to come over and paint it for us, though, you know.
Well, maybe that was some of that, you know, Atlanta reticence. We don't have a good enough artist, even though we might have, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we better get someone from Europe to do it because they've got the culture.
Yeah, they have you could ride horses, you know, have horses, you know. It was real nice. It was a real stable community. Of course, back when I was coming up, all communities were stable. You know, so we didn't have any type problem, you know.
Did you get into any trouble yourself? Minor trouble?
Not that I got caught on. No, I was a pretty good kid. Of course, you know, when you're living with parents, kind of have to be straight, or you might not have no place to live when you get back. So we, you know, I was pretty good. But I worked most of my life. So did Ron Nephew used to be with the IBEW, you know, me and him was soda jerks together when we were kids.
Where did you work as a soda jerk?
In Grant Park, in a David's pharmacy, or neighborhood pharmacy.
Yeah. And then why did you drop out of school when you were 17?
Boy wanted me to go in the service with him. I had 2 brothers in, and so it's just one of them goofy things you do. I just decided to quit, and so I finished my GED in Japan. I had skipped the 1st and 7th grade, and but I would have probably graduated early had I, you know, not quit.
Were you considered an exceptionally bright kid then?
No, I was had the measles when I was supposed to go to 1st grade, and anyway, then I was a year old, so they put me in the 2nd grade, and then in 46 and 7, they added the 7th grade onto the grammar schools, and the 8th grade on the high school. I hadn't been in the 6th grade, and some of them they promoted on to the 8th grade because they were overloaded, you know, so I went in the 8th grade.
Boy, they just shoved you from ball to
Yeah,
post.
I'm just trying to get rid of it.
I want to ask you Kusana and Incheon, but let's order.
In the 40s, It's a real treat to work at a drugstore. You know, you got all the ice cream you wanted, and candy, and you know stuff. So,
Well, that's what Mike says about Ingalls. The one thing that makes him not want to organize a union, aside from the fact that he's only 16, is he says, "Would they give me soda and candy and ice cream?"
yeah, so we don't. That's what makes you proud to be an American, right there. Don't get no better than that.
But here you are now. Now, you're 17 years old, and you go off to Korea to the middle of a war. That must have been really shocking for a young guy.
Well, sure. I didn't even know there was a war going on.
What branch of the service did you go?
Navy.
Navy.
And spent 4 years in it. But, yeah, you know, I just thought I'd go into service and started going to school, and there just happened to be a war going on.
Well, tell me, if you don't mind telling me, some people don't like to talk about it, tell me about Busan.
Well, the North Koreans had them pushed down into the corner of Busan, you know, the South Koreans, and our function was the Americans and Allies had dumped all the ammunition and stuff into the harbor to couldn't capture it, you know, so after they made the Incheon invasion, you know, we went into Busan to try to clear the harbor out. I was in salvage and demolition, underwater work, and then we went to Incheon after they got the beachhead established. We went into Incheon, and the North Koreans had sunk a ship crossways in the channel, so the big boats couldn't get in, land the craft, and so we went in and blew that up, and, you know, cleared the harbor. And left there, and we went to the Philippines, and don't blow up the ships there. It was in the harbor, but it was, had American prisoners on it, so it was sunk during the Second World War, so they didn't touch that.
Now, so, okay, here you are, a young guy. Did you look at it like just another job, or was it exciting, or was it scary?
Well, it was, once I got in, it was scary because, you know, I hadn't been away from Atlanta, you know, and then shipped out of San Francisco, you know, overseas. In about 5 weeks, I was in Japan. Of course, that's a whole different culture. And a 17-year-old kid in Japan, I was having a good time, you know. I was going to enjoy that Navy. And then about 2 weeks, we left and, you know, went to Korea. And, it was I had a good time. Kind of like the Hell's Navy. You know, recall the type of ship I was on. There was only 4 in the world, especially made. And they call us gypsy sailors. We just pull up on beaches and get out and, you know, or dive, you know.
Wherever you're needed?
Yeah, and just, but it was designed so we could just run it up on the beach and, you know, not have to be tied up or anchor out in the harbor somewhere and work off of it. It was interesting. A lot of divers and demolition and stuff like that.
Well, what exactly did you do?
Well, I was in the engine room for a while, and then I worked on the deck, the rigging, and, you know, did a little diving, shallow water diving. In the hydrogen test, I did some shallow water diving, you know, they laying instruments out, the lagoon from the bomb, just general salvage work, you know.
Since you mentioned bomb, let me ask you about now. You're involved in this, in the test of the hydrogen bomb?
Yeah, and we saw machinery.
Can you tell me some about that?
Well, it's just, they didn't tell us anything about it other than, you know, it was top secret, and we went out, and I was on a little old boat. We were, actually, my ship was in 2 of them. We were in one in the 40s. And then I wasn't on it then, but then we went back to the hydrogen test. It was the largest explosions ever been. But we went in, laid some instruments, you know, and then we backed out about 15 miles and they set it off. And after the initial blast, you know, the light, the shock wave, and the fireball and all that, we went back under the mushroom. You know,
You went right back under?
yeah.
Whoa.
Ooh, in fact, and we ran fire hoses all up the mast and around the light lines and everything, sprinkler heads on them, and turn them all on where it kept the ship in a fog or a mist. So when the radiation come down, supposedly wash it over, wash it off the ship, but we'd go out and test the radiation, and gear you had on.
Did they give you special gear?
No, we didn't know, just typical fire weather gear.
Well, and you're still healthy, so.
I glow in the dark every now and then, but other than that, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm president of the Atomic Veterans Association here. I deal with them a lot.
What is the Atomic Veterans Association?
Well, it's a group of people that were in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, the troops and all that was exposed to radiation, basically the radiation exposure, and the people that did the test in Los Alamos and, TVA and they get something, the nuclear subs, and like all the tests they had in the Pacific, and all these people in the service has been exposed to it, radiation.
And do you lobby for better health care?
Yeah, well, we lobby for benefits, similar to what Agent Orange was.
Yeah.
We were actually the first to go for benefits for radiation exposure atomic vets, and then they put
right?
that off so long, and then they tacked the Agent Orange bill, and it kind of overshadowed the atomic.
Because that's how long they put it off.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of benefits do you all have now? Excuse me for asking so much.
No, that's just typical VA benefits. If you really got a claim, you got to go through act of Congress to get anything. It's not, they claim everything really not service connected.
Yeah, right.
Because you glow in the dark don't mean you got that service from that high radiation.
Well, that was kind of a diversion, but I never knew about that. That's very interesting. That would, well, that's part of our history too, isn't it? Okay. What did it look like? I mean, for our listeners of the future.
What's that?
What did it look like to see the huge fireball?
Well, it was really of course in the ocean. They set it off about daybreak, and it's like a giant vanilla ice cream cone, really. The bottom part's are orange, which is the fire, and it goes up till it hits the stratosphere or something, then the mushroom goes out, but it's just like a giant vanilla ice cream cone.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's an awesome sight. But then the light's so intense, I put my arm up, and it was intense. I dropped it to see if I still had it up there, just that reflex. And of course, I was supposed to watch out for shock wave, which I thought would be some big wave coming, but it wasn't. It was pressure. Like you go up a mountain, your ears pop. I was looking for a wave, and all of a sudden I grabbed my head, because it had all that pressure hit the ears. And then that's basically it, but it's just, you can't really describe the roar and the sheer power that was unleashed. I would hate to be where they dropped one of those things.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about they ought to nuke them or do that. They don't really understand what they're talking about when they talk they ought to nuke another country or, get it settled. It's just too awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband talks about that on Bosnia, and I keep trying to tell him, no, it doesn't work that way.
No, you're right.
It's too much. Well, let's get you into the labor movement.
Okay.
You come back out of the Navy,
Mm-hmm.
and what was your first job when you became a civilian?
I went to work for Southern Bell as a heifer in 55, and after that a heifer cable supplier. And I stayed about 6 or 7 years as a heifer.
What did you do?
As a cable splicer.
I mean, but what does a cable splicer do, actually?
Well, he with the lines together, and all the major lines, to have underground and in the air, and of course they don't do it anymore much, but
does that mean it's an outdoor job? You work on the holes out there?
yeah, and in the manholes.
Being a young guy, I bet you got a lot of manholes.
Yeah.
Just
about all in Atlanta, yeah. It's a lot of history in this town. But I'm not like Norton on Jackie Gleason, though. I've done a little better job than he is. But then I stay to splice it, and just typically till about 66 or 67, I guess. And I found out you could get to, this is how I got involved with leather. Is that the vegetable?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's your word for it, partner.
I don't cook it. I just say.
Yeah, I understand.
I'll be right back to that shit. You want ketchup or shit? Because it comes with fries.
Yeah, you can bring it, be fine. But I stay that way till about 66 or 67.
Okay, now let's not get you out of the 50s yet, because I want to ask you about the 50s. Because you're living in Atlanta then? Whereabouts in Atlanta were you staying?
But I stayed in Grant Park. I mean, just right off Cherokee Avenue down in Grant Park, and Augusta Avenue right in that area.
And what was Atlanta like in the 50s?
Oh, it's a beautiful city. Beautiful. Safe, you walk anywhere you wanted to go.
What'd you do for fun?
Work. Work. That's about all I've done is work.
Were you a married guy?
I got married in 58.
So did you take your wife out on any dates, or did you make
Well, I believe I was living in her house. I'm not sure. I forgot how. I was working a little grill right there, part time, just helping the lady out. She used to come in there. She lived next door and that way. Yeah.
And you worked all the time, huh?
Yeah.
Is that pretty much what you had to do to make a living then? Or is that just what you like doing?
Well, you live at home, and so, with my aunt and them, they were still there. Gracious, all it's going to be ours.
There we go. Okay.
It was just a thing. I guess back then, all the kids worked. It wasn't, wasn't a whole lot geared toward going to college. And the first thing you did was get a job. Kind of help the family out. That's what I basically did, And when I got married, I went to family for help for us.
When did you first become a member of the CWA?
And second day I went to work. One of the old timers gave me a union card, and I signed it up. I never even heard of unions. I didn't even know what a break was when I went to work. I'd never been exposed to that type of work.
Well, you were coming off of, you were coming in right after what had to be one of the most significant strikes in Southern history.
Oh, yeah.
Was the spirit pretty militant, or were people over it?
No, it was, and it still carries over today from the 55 strikes. We had the 72-day strike. But not being familiar with strikes and, that type of stuff, I went to work for, had been through the strike. He gave me a union card, and I signed it, and wasn't any debate about it. And then I was kind of told from people that scabbed and all that business, I wasn't, associate with them. Of course, we didn't have that many. But the scabs were isolated. Didn't nobody have anything to do with it. And that went on for years.
Wow.
And they were historically known as, scabby so-and-so, or, scabby this, and it wasn't Joe Blow or something. And they carried that label with them. How good they ever did, they never shook that label.
Let me, I'm going to, there we go. All right. Okay, so we're in the CWA, you joined the CWA. When did you become active? When did you
about 67, I guess, 66, 67. I found out that if you sign up a non-member, the local will give you $2 a card.
Ah.
So I was pretty good at talking, and it was easy money, you know. So I was signing up for these people, and they send me a little check for $10 or $12, and that's big money. And so then they noticed my name keep popping up on these cards, and they called me down and asked me if I would go and do some organizing for us. So they certified me as a Stuart just for organizing. And I started organizing about a year, not full time. I mean, just on go out and get off the job for a while when we go after somebody. And, about 68, they had an opening for a plant representative, and so I ran for that and was elected, and I kept that.
Okay, well, how come you ran? Why'd you decide to run?
The inner workings wanted me to, you know. So, and so I stayed that plant rep for 2 years, and then in 70 or 71, open game for vice president. I ran for vice president, was elected, and I kept that a year and a half, and the president had to step down, and they appointed me president, and I filled out his term, and then I was elected 3 other times.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, let's start with the union, Stuart. I want to take you up through the different jobs. What were your specific responsibilities as union steward?
Well, of course,
recruiting.
Yeah, that's probably number one. But I represented just the plant department, basically the outside people, and the grievances and complaints. Sat in on the grievances. That's about it.
And then you were plant rep. And what'd you do for that? Plant
Well,
rep?
yeah, just as a plant rep for it, because I didn't have any time as a steward other than some organizing time.
Gotcha.
And then when I ran for plant rep, and they normally send an experienced person with you, you know.
Yeah.
So I never really had to handle one, you know, by myself or jeopardizing members' complaints and inexperience. But, it's more of a training process than grievance handling.
Actually, I remember that very well. I was CWA steward myself for a little while. And they never wanted me to go in a room by myself.
Yeah. And,
okay, and then on to higher office.
yeah, vice president. Which was, they had 2 vice presidents, one in charge of organizing and community services and things, and one in charge of grievances.
Okay.
So I handled the organizing.
And what exactly did you do for that?
Well, did a lot of work. but I built it up to, we got up to about 8,100 members at one period of time. And, I guess that was in the early 70s or so. I had a big hiring, but I was able to convince the company to let me come in and when they give their indoctrination to the new hires to the training center, that they would turn it over to me for a period of time and let me explain the union position. And that was where my major success was, that I had a captive audience, or so the company said. But
That's the idea.
I just passed out the cards, and all those people sitting there, new hires, and I just basically said, sign these 3 places and what we do with them. And because I didn't have about 15 or 20 minutes, and that went on several months, but we would sign 500-600. And then the company came back and stopped it and said I had a captive audience, and that I was being intimidated or something. So anyway, that stopped. But I continued to organize for about a year and a half, and then the day I was president got sick, or had to step down, and the board appointed me I couldn't even spell it when I got the job, you know. But, and I was successful running again, you know, which this organizing, the time I had in organizing, a lot of people knew me because I'd signed them up. I didn't know them, but I had signed them up, so I had kind of built-in base that I didn't know. And I was thinking that in 81, I got defeated in 81. And in 84, I retired.
Why the heck not, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, as you were being president, do any negotiations stick out in your mind particularly? Or a VP for that matter?
Well, during the Nixon term in office, now, and Joe Byrd, which had to be the national president back then, called us back in before we had a contract ratified. And I know everybody was up in arms about it. And we got about a 6% so increase. And we came back to work that day, and the next day Nixon put the wage and price freeze of 3.2% on, you know, which I thought was good for us. But my term, we never had any major strikes. We went up to the wire, you know, but we never called. And we've always had good relations, basically, since late 50s, early 60s with the bail system.
Well, how come you had good relations?
Basically, they had more power than we did.
That's what
You know, you know, the bail system, as opposed to other unions where you go to the labor temple or the local union, they send you out on the job, you know. They do the hiring, and we have to convince you to join. Well, you know, being CWA, which is it depends on what department or where you're located with the company. Sometimes you don't have real good access to the labor movement or the union. You know, you're more associated with the company and the managers than you are. You know.
Yeah. Because you're so scattered around the state.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of clerks and all, they don't, you know, really, it's hard to explain to them what the union can offer them when they're trying to make extra money for the family, and, you know.
Well, that's one good reason to have good relations.
Yeah. We've never really been a militant type organization. The technology we have, you know, you can't be too militant when computers can take your jobs and, you know, copy fibers and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, how did technology affect the work while you were there? All right, we'll come back to that one. Well, it was hard to be in touch with other unions, or even I bet at other CWA levels. So how did you manage to stay in touch?
We didn't. We had to depend on our national district office, you know, to kind of trickle down effect for us, you know, and they basically ran the show. Local CWA locals don't do anything on their own. They have to have guidance from the district office, unless you get to big locals like Atlanta. It used to be Miami before they split it up. The big locals can basically operate on their own, but you get the smaller CWA locals around, they depend on the bigger locals or the staff, you know.
Well, let me ask this. Does the CWA district say split up a big local so it doesn't get much power, or the national, or is it just convenience?
The members have to do it. They go, but you get a big area like Atlanta, and they try 2 or 3 times to vote Atlanta local up. You get people up North Cross and Gwinnett County area and all, they don't want to come down to downtown Atlanta. You get people on the south side like Jonesboro, Forest Park area, you know, they think they ought to have one down in their area. But you get enough on the floor to put the motion on, break the split, then, of course, I went down to Nashville, didn't like it, that takes the Powell out of, delegate strength out of, the local hands. Miami, they split the Miami local into 3 locals. And if all 3 didn't agree, they just canceled each other out, instead of having a 6,000 member block of votes, you just leave with maybe 1,000 or 1,500. So.
Interesting how that works. People have told me that you were involved in a lot of social work sorts of activities. Charity activities.
That's my favorite thing.
Will you tell me about a few of them? There was a bike-a-thon. I remember that one. And there were some others while you were still active, huh?
I rented a permit at Central City Park, and the first job freshers day at the whole park. And I dressed up my secretary and one of my Stuarts as robots.
That's funny.
And, with a sign on the pants that said, "We're people, not machines," and brought them in from all over, Florida and Georgia and Carolinas and bus brigades coming in. And I timed it at 12 o'clock, so I'd have basically a built-in audience and, everybody coming out for lunch. You wonder what all that, but then hired the Golden Guitars to play. And, just had a big huzzah and parade around the headquarters of the Bell system and with signs and robots and stuff, about 1,500.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did it again on the J.P. Stevens boycott.
Is that right?
Oh,
tell me about that.
And I put a bid down in Central City Park, and best I can remember now, and with secretary and all, something about you wouldn't, if it was J.P. Stevens, I forget exactly how it came down. I ran over to the office of the secretary that did, but she wouldn't be on something like that on that bid or something if it was J.P. Stevens stuff, but that's thank to them. Then charged some buses to Solidarity Day in Washington.
Did you get a good turnout from the CWA for that?
Huh?
Did you get a good turnout from the CWA for that?
Yeah, we carried 2 bus loads.
That's a good turnout, yeah.
I put on some, I put on some people that's sick, raise funds for them.
Yeah. And what was that bike-a-thon that you did?
That was for the City of Hope Hospital at Cancer Research Center. California was to build them a labor place in Philadelphia. And City of Hope operated out of the labor section operated out of 1,400 miles from Stone Mountain, Boston.
God.
And, we timed it where our convention was going to be in Boston, whatever year it was, 35th or 30th, whatever convention it was. And we timed it where we'd come in Boston on the 4th of July. So several $100,000. A lot of good PR work for the labor movement. I did celebrate Labor's 100th anniversary.
Something else. Well, give me some years on these. Historians are always concerned with years. What year was the bike-a-thon?
81.
81. And the J.P. Stevens?
Oh gosh, I imagine it was back in the mid-70s.
Okay. And then the Job Pressure Day?
About the same time, about 78.
70s. Carter president?
Gosh, I don't remember. Well, he was during part of my term because we got to go to a reception in the White House and see him. And
did you get to go yourself personally?
yes.
Oh, what was that like?
Well, kind of want to steal something up there, you know, all the trinkets and all that on your skin. You know? But you know, you get to go through. They had a little band sitting there, and they played the violins and the harpist, and as you go through, and then they had wine and cheese. And I found out you could take the bottles, empty bottles, and napkins and things, but I was scared to do it. But you know, that's just it's a feeling inside the place. It's not like the tour, you know, you walk through, but when you just in there, and you know, Abraham Lincoln and Kennedy and all these other people that, you know, this is actually where they were, you know, it's kind of, it's overwhelming, you know.
It must be moving. So you're a yellow dog Democrat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Still am.
Do you feel that the Democrats in Georgia have supported unions the way they should? Or maybe.
Well, I think they go hand in hand in the state. I don't know if we've ever had a conflict with the Democratic Party. We've never had, to my knowledge, I'm not that much of a politician, but I know we've had support probably for about the last 15 or 20 years. You know, it used to be that no labor person was really welcome at the Capitol. You know, and very few people would be identified as labor, but all that's turned around probably since the mid-60s or so. And labor people deal with them and like the endorsement and usually they wanted the money behind the doors, you know, but they don't put it in public or they kill me all the way. And there's still a few of those around, but by and large, labor's respectful, you know. I was a Senate doorkeeper over there. I was a Senate doorkeeper at the Capitol for about 3 or 4 years.
What did you do?
Open the doors for the senators.
Well, let me rephrase that. Why did you do that?
Zell was lieutenant governor, and they hired me. We kind of keep the people seated, and, you know, kind of still direct traffic and maintain the order, and, you know, stuff. Don't let people come barging in, and, you know. Like I say, open door and do a little curtsy for the senators, you know. And it was interesting. Get to meet all the lobbyists behind the scenes, did a lot of receptions. It's neat.
What memorable people stand out in your mind? Thinking about politicians who aren't always the most memorable. Out of all these years in the labor movement, who stands out in your mind as memorable?
Well, of course, I've been Zell Mills, 69, 70, somewhere along there, and I've been associated with him. Hadn't always been exactly what labor wanted, but he's been good, you know, good to labor. Labor hadn't necessarily all the time been good to him, you know, but then of course Andrew Young, you know, I was heavily involved in Maynard Jackson's campaign for mayor. Not so much John Lewis, even though I'm aware of him, you know, stuff. But I guess my time would be Maynard Jackson, Andrew Young, Dale Miller, and Ben Jones, you know.
Ben Jones who said the funniest joke in history about Barbie and Ken.
Oh, yeah.
God, I had a whole thing after that. Yeah. There we go. Maynard Jackson. Why did you think Maynard Jackson was good for labor?
Well, he was the endorsed candidate, you know, and the truth, I forgot who he was running against.
Boy, it's Sam Massell one time.
Well, Sam was, he was the mayor, but I'm not sure, did he run against Sam? Did Sam run again? I know he called me down he thought maybe Sam had the phones bugged, you know, when he went out of office at City Hall, and, I guess he did run against Sam. And Sam really was associated with big business and, you know, you ready for this? Oh, you want to take this?
Okay. And you were saying about Sam South?
Well, he was more associated. He never had been associated with labor.
It's Buckhead Businessmen's Association.
And so mainly seemed to be, you know, the choice. He won, you know. Of course, Andy was too. You know, he ran for Congress, you know. And,
what did you do when Andy ran against Dell in the initial things for the governor's race?
I stuck with Dell. And in that race, the locals are going to do what they want to anyway. I don't care what the endorsement is by and large. The only time we've ever been together is one in this state. District with a politician was for Sam Caldwell, the labor commissioner, when he ran against Ben T. Hewitt. And which was probably the best thing that ever happened to labor in this state.
Sam Caldwell was.
And I had a utmost respect for him, you know. The commissioner did a heck of a good job. But with Maynard and Andrew and they've been almost 100%, you know, they would have a vote rate.
Must have been a tough choice.
And so basically they left it, you know, local just did what they wanted to. If Maynard had, I mean, if Andy had some, you know, and Theo had some, and of course Andy's base would have been in the metro area with some locals. Theo would probably have been statewide. But I would say, wasn't against Andy, but I was with Theo. Now Andy, when I was with him when he ran for Congress, he had to be a district. I'll tell you that. And then I was with White Schuyler, right after he left the city council and ran, you know, with Board White.
Getting back to Maynard, I got you distracted.
So I rambled.
Why did you think Maynard was good for labor?
Well, I didn't know it well. I was going basically on endorsement.
Okay.
But, you know.
Do you think he proved out to be the good candidate?
Well, I do. Yeah. He had some problem with the garbage workers, you know, when he first went in, and then and a lot of that was kind of brought on both sides was, you know, involved, and kind of I think he was forced in a position of having to take a stand that he probably really didn't want to, but was put in that position, and played some evil will towards some, but I think all that he been over a period of time, you know, that got straight. But all the mayors since Maynard went in has been basically pro-union, or at least all pro. They're not anti, you know, which was a plus.
And how about Ben Jones?
Like I said, he was an endorsed candidate. And that's what we do. We put out the signs, we do a lot of go for it. We're not high-level strategies, you know, and we just do whatever, you know, somebody needs toilets, a sign to put out, or you need some toilet paper for the bathroom, or a eraser for your pencil, you know, just get up what you can.
Well, he needed labor support, though, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. And it was a good man, and he still has it, you know, I mean, if he's in office, you know, but labor still. And Dave Worley was, I think, would have been an excellent choice if we endorsed it, didn't make it against Newt Gingrich, you know, and we came within 100 votes, I think, a couple of times of beating Newt. And then they split these districts up and got up and see where he's at, you know. So labor really missed a chance of.
You think we'll ever get him out?
Yeah, I hope this redistricting in the session now put him down in my district.
Well, wouldn't it be lovely? Don't anyone write that down.
Yeah, beep, beep.
No, by the time anyone listens to this, he will be out of office.
Yeah,
He'll be okay.
I think he's a loose cannon. But really, in the labor movement, to be a Democratic, kind of associated with a Democratic Party, we probably make more Republicans than Republican parties solicited. We've got people that years ago that was brought up Democrat, and then they started making good money, and they're guaranteed that in the contract, but they're not part of the bargaining process. All they know is they get a big check, they got them. You should ride the bus to work or walk to work or hitch a ride. Now they got not only one car, they got a 2-car garage and a bass boat in the front yard, and talking about them Democrats gonna run this country, And so I think till it goes back down to rock bottom. And let the people see what it's like not to have the protection of organized labor, or strong union. I've always heard that every government that's not a Democratic government, first thing to destroy is the labor movement.
Yeah.
There's no communist country was ever a communist country till they destroyed the labor unions, And I think if you study about that history thing, you can see, and the ones that set them free is the labor unions.
Poland.
Yeah, yeah. And basically, you can, I have a lot of sympathy for the farm workers, farm workers. There's new man that came through, and organized some of the people. A lot of them still got it hard. At least they have a foothold in place to operate from. So the people that really need it,
Well, we got off onto politics, from, which you get me off on politics too. But I had asked you about memorable people. Zell Miller's campaign came up. Who else would you, looking back, say, that's someone I really remember well?
Well, of course, the Carters.
Rosalind and Jimmy Carter.
And her mama, Miss Lillian.
Oh, did you know Miss Lillian?
Yeah. We met down in Flames when we started
Were you an early Carter supporter then?
Yeah. Well, he was a Georgia boy, it didn't matter if he was for him or against him as governor, but, when he was a candidate from Georgia, he was a favorite son, so, everybody was with Jimmy back then, And especially C.W.
Were you part of the Peanut Brigade?
No, I didn't make that. But,
what was Miss Lillian like?
Pistol ball.
Really?
Yes, she was. And she was, I guess, in her 70s then. So, real active. A lot of speeches. PR work for him. She commanded all that, Miss Lillian come in, she had a long history in herself. But I was just trying to think of some of the, well, like say Sam Caldwell. I guess Zell Miller and Sam Caldwell would be my two favorites.
Tell me about Sam Caldwell. I don't know a lot about Sam Caldwell, except, of course, that he was a labor commissioner.
Well, we had a fellow, Ben T. Hewitt, used to be the labor commissioner. But it had been forever, I thought Sherman come through at the same time, but he never gave the working people, any kind of break. And Sam ran against him, and I got involved with the UAW and all was big Sam supporters, and we got involved in his campaign, but it was the only time since I've been in the labor movement I've seen ever working person working. Sam, and he beat Ben T. Hewitt and stayed in for years and was always great with labor. And
What kind of person was he?
Oh, I liked him. He was married to his wife was Lebanese.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I think he's probably, if he hadn't died this week or something, I think he's right on the verge. Last I heard,
Oh,
they
yeah.
said that they reported about I ought to call him, and he's in bad shape, so I sent him but after they convicted him of this little insurance thing with the boats and all, you know, and he served his time, wrote his book. I went around with him to some of the meetings, would sell his books and get autograph them and all. He's a nice man. He just took the heat for a lot of people. He'd give freebies to and went down the tube, you know, which is part of the occupational hazard of being in politics. But I love Sam. I like Ben. He's been kind of changed in the last time. His personality was
Ben Jones or Ben Hewitt?
Ben Jones.
Ben Jones.
Well, I jumped through.
Yeah.
And then this last time I backed Joe Kennedy for lieutenant governor, and so he lost, but I liked him.
I've heard much good about him. How about on the sort of rank and file level? Anyone stick out in your mind on a rank and file level? This is a sort of a live wire.
J.T. Becker, that
okay.
was in there. I was his helper, and I was fortunate to be working with some people from, I call it the old school. You know, I was trained by some master craftsmen and everything, but I came during that period of time when the master craft, even though I know it, you didn't use it anymore because the technology was changing, you know, and like wiping joints with hot lead and all that stuff. They don't do that anymore. You know, they stick them together and bolt the bugs. But you used to have to twist each of the wire, you know, thousands tied, you know, together. Now they come in modules already, you know, a lot of the craft work's taken out of the stick together and automated. Used to call up and somebody test your line, now some machine does it all, you know, just stuff like that.
It's real annoying too.
Yeah, it is.
If you know anybody at Southern Bell who has control over this, tell them the customers are really very aggravated by the whole thing.
Yeah. Customer comes second.
Yeah, really.
Automation comes first.
Tell me about J2.
Oh, he was just call telephone man. He was probably the best. I mean, at his trade. Good at it. And, afterwards, he came back to work after strike, you know. But then he started doing independent telephone work, you know, and so he quit the company and had his own independent contracting job. He got branched off into doing Powell work, the Powell company and all, and that, of course, he had a hemorrhage last 2 or 3 months ago, and he died, so he was the last of the 56, you know, 50 strike. Real leaders are still around.
And he was a leader of the 55 strike. Huh?
Well, he was active in it, not a leader of it, but active in it, you know. Even the president and all them, you know, they're all gone. Joe Byrne, you know, the national president, and then the local presidents here and in the other areas, I don't know. I mean, you know, still around.
Well, Ben Porter's still around, isn't he?
Yeah, he lives down in Lake Capri, but he's getting on up. I mean, he's a fairly young fella, but he's getting on up. It's funny how at my age, I think I'm old as he is. He seems like an old man. I went to this atomic convention out in Investors out in San Antonio last year. I got old folks out here, you know. So I left, went up to Wichita, place to drive.
If you could look back and say, I'd live that again, what would you choose?
Truthfully, I don't know of anything. I've really enjoyed living, you know, and still do. But, you know, I was fortunate when I went into service. well, I was fortunate first place that I wasn't putting on all the time, you know, and I was fortunate that the people that brought me up, you know, I mean, they just working people, you know, they didn't have any kids of their own, but I was able to live with. I was fortunate in that respect. When I went in the service, I was fortunate that had good duty. I was fortunate I didn't get killed, you know, not that I was that much exposed to it, but I, you know, just in the area. I'm 17, you know. I was fortunate to have been able to witness that atomic blast. I was fortunate to be in good enough health at 50 to ride a bicycle 1,400 miles. You know, I was fortunate to be elected in office. It wasn't on my ability, you know, I mean, I'm not I'm more behind the scenes, you know, person. I don't like to be out front of, you know, credit, but I was fortunate. But
You live guys are so modest.
and then, you know, I was fortunate that I was able to retire with a nice pension thanks to the labor movement. And I'm 60, you know, and then retired a good while, you know, 8 or 9 years, and had a good, healthy retirement. Finished golf yesterday. Go play poker tomorrow, you know. So I had, you know, I mean, but you know, I can't think of anything really that I would say, you know, I probably wouldn't have stolen candy bars from the doc when I worked at the drugstore and had to do over again because he was a nice fella.
I bet you would have taken one of those napkins or bottles from the White House if you could have get them too.
But you know, I've been real fortunate that I seem to be in the right place at the right time for something to happen. Vice President FLCIO state. So everything I did, I fell into it. You know, it ain't quite on your ability. You know, you don't have too much.
Well, they must have thought you were pretty high because you're in the Labor Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So maybe other people
I carry a lot of toilet
high
paper to Ben Jones, you know.
I don't think that was it. Ooh, I can make a dirty joke.
Yeah, I know. He made a couple on me. Time he gets to the big reception, he cracks something about me painting his house somewhere. We're going to have one more.
Tell me about your job with the state AFL-CIO. Your position with it.
Well, it's just vice president of the 5th district, which is basically the metro Atlanta area, you know, and it represents all labor unions. It's really more, it's a ceremonial type job because in the metro area, you know, most big locals don't need, you know, call the FLCIO for what they want anyway. They just go ahead and do it, man. In smaller areas, when you get out, like in, I say, Waycross, you know, the Valdosta area and all, they need a vice president, you know, who can kind of filter down what's coming down. But even though I served on the board, I really didn't have any major functions to do, you know, big protocol in some areas, you know, and things, but most of the unions have their own lobbyists and everything else, you know.
Well, one thing is that it might have given you a better picture than most people have of what was going on with the state labor movement. What do you think, how do you think it's changed in the state since you got involved? And I guess the second part of that question is, and where do you think it's going to go?
Well, truthfully, I don't think it's changed a whole lot. And the second part of your question, yeah, and the second part of your question is something in not just the state, but this is just my first rate in the state, the whole labor movement as a whole. We're dealing with different type companies, industries, you know, multinational conglomerates now, you know, the mergers, the automation, the technology, and in the trades, in all the way they operated, you know, for years and years, even the structure is it's going to have to be overhauled and streamlined, and I think the labor force that's coming in the 90s and the turn of the century is not going to be recognizable as the labor force of the, 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And they got a tough job. They could, I think, whatever it takes, and I don't have the answer to it, but whatever it takes to get into the high-tech type industry, and I don't know what function we'd play, organizing these people. But I guess the service industry is going to be the bottom line, I think, on the labor movement. And I really don't have that. And I would hate to know that I had to be trying to steer or lead or guide somebody into this, part. Fortunately, I got elected at a good time, and I got defeated at a good time with the split up of AT&T and the Bell systems, and especially with all these new treaties going on, with the labor's in one country and the product's in another country and the sales is in another country, it's something it's kind of scary if you're from the labor side of,
Well, let me just take you back to the late 60s for a second. In the late 60s, all sorts of hell was breaking loose. Civil rights movement. Well, the civil rights movement has already pretty much achieved its goals. Women's movement breaks out. Anti-Vietnam protests, and and tons of other stuff. How did you react to them as a labor guy, or personally?
Well, personally, I never. From the old school, I served my country. I didn't leave anybody, organized opposition. Like to the war, I was opposed to the, for some reason, I wasn't necessarily for the war. Mm-hmm. We had thousands over there getting killed, mm-hmm. and these people not paying any penalty other than. And I guess that's part of the democracy, but I didn't support that part. I was not, I guess, what for the hippie movement, so to speak, when they come to work with the sandals and the long hat, and all that.
You never had a braid down your back.
No, I didn't like that. Now, tattoo and a cigar dipped snuff was all right, but No, but I wasn't that free spirit movement, and it was kind of a strain in the unions too. If the company tried to discipline, somebody for their hair being too long, earrings, sandals, tank tops, these type of things. And then if the company disciplined, they would come to the union. Of course, under the law, we'd have to file a grievance for them, whether we agreed with them or not. The law says that we have to file a grievance, and we'd catch it from both sides. Come say, "This got him." And remember, say, "You gonna file one for that son of a gun?" You know what I mean? It gets the kids in a turmoil. What was the other part of the question?
I was asking about, women and black people, the workforce was integrated, and
yeah.
and men and women a lot. Well, you
This
had women
thing
before,
kind of evolved, before they really started the affirmative action, they had what they call a NAB program. That was the National Alliance of Businessmen, the companies and all that, to keep us from passing the laws and all. They would hire people of, basically it was more handicapped than it was colored, but then they hired a certain amount of colored, and but with no chance to ever move. They would never answer on what their retention rate was. They would say, "Well, we hired 1,500, NAB," but it'd just be so far. You know, you take one of the somebody out of the ghetto or hardcore and put them out here with this highly technical stuff, and they'll make a job, you know, and it's just frustrating to them, and they would leave. And so it was a constant turnover. They would hold it up under this NAB program. We hired X number, and they put like a, you know, a handicap running a Xerox machine or a mail route or something, you know, and then it get involved in where they started hiring them and then training them. But then there was a lot of resentment, of course, being from the South, you know. There was a lot of resentment that they were getting special treatment, and in a lot of instances, none of the workers they tolerated them, but they wouldn't show them nothing, you know, or didn't really want to help them, you know. But slowly that evolved, and, you know, it worked out. But it was a peaceful adjustment. But a lot of people didn't feel like that, you know, maybe you ought to have a job because you were a woman, you know. Outside job. I mean, it's all right to be an operator or something, you know, one of the hard jobs, but not one of the top paying jobs. You know, come out as a woman and, or as a black. And it wasn't minorities, it was just black. You know, that was the real hard thing. A lot of people just took their retirement and all, you know, they just, you know, put up with it, you know. And it kind of compounded the stereotype you have of, you know, say the blacks, that they're not as smart or something, you know. And when they come out, nobody show them anything. The others that always said, well, they're dumb, you know what I mean? And it just kind of thing. But it's leveled out now. It's not tough, you know. It's worked out good in the telephone industry, you know.
CWA membership change its composition like that too?
Oh yeah, I set up the first equity committee, so to speak, you know, in the South. If there were any complaints of discrimination and stuff, you know, they could bring it to their own group within the union and had blacks and whites on it, you know, and put some of the first black stewards and different things in the local. But I think probably CWA was in the forefront, other than the predominantly unions that were predominantly black, like the laborers, you know, that type. As far as the service unions and all, we were probably in a lot of
CWA's got the reputation of being a local union.
Yeah, and they had, like I say, the first equity committees, you know, and women's committees, and community service committees, and we had a lot of committees, but they function, you know, and they kind of intermingle with each other, and so it's been good. But at that period of time, you know, you've never been before, you know, especially in the South, you know, and a lot of these laws was passed, and companies was trying to ease into them without revolting the troops, you know. And then, you know, of course, the same way on the union, you know, it's kind of hard to adjust, you know. But we made a pretty smooth transaction in CWA.
If you could, let's just pretend you could stand in front of an auditorium full of young union members and tell them anything you wanted to tell them, what would you tell them?
Get right with God and join the Democratic Party. God, what more could you say? West Beach Street, we had it's when the Special Olympics was first getting started. Ted Turner just bought the Channel 17 across the street, and they were only on TV maybe 6 or 8 hours, I forget now. They wasn't on long at night, but we blocked off West Beach Street and put a telethon on for the Special Olympics. Tommy Novus used to be a linebacker with the Falcons and all, some sports groups. But Chris Christopherson and Rita Coolidge, they came to the local, you know, and we had all the football players and all up in the local, and they just walked down the steps out on the stage, you know, and then TV 17 was across the street. They had a big telethon, I think, we made about $8,000, which was good money for then. And then the next year we were really instrumental with Tom and Notice and all that, because the Special Olympics started here in the state. He still does it. And we had big telethon from the Six Flags. And then we decided to go to a golf tournament. So we had a couple of three golf tournaments, and it got big. It got big, and now it's the Lady Tara Classic is what was original golf tournament we did for Special Olympics.
You're a big golfer, huh?
Oh, I swing a lot. I ain't a good golfer. Anytime you're above ground, you can get out there and swing. You know, it's all right. You know,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like and really our local and the FLCIO and all they take good care of me. You know, a lot of times I get free golf trips and stuff like that. But they it's something they're going to participate in and all that. They good to me.
I do have one more question. What one thing have you done that you would say, that's my legacy? I mean, you've done so many of these things. What's the one that really you're the most proud of, if you can single out one?
Really, I'm not through yet. Building a Legion post here in High Falls now, forming the American Legion post in High Falls, a little community I'm in, and been the commander of it about 4 years. It's about 4 years old. I have a building up. I would hope to have a big ball field and recreational area for the kids. That's down where we are, the kids and all, and that'd be I don't really have a legacy. I was, like I say, a lot of, I inherited what I got from a lot of people that did the real work, like the Joe Jacobs, did the organizing down here, and that built it. I never had to build an organization. I inherited one and built on it,
Joe Jacobs would say the same thing about you, though, and has.
But it's like I said earlier, it's nothing that I really did. Any brilliance on my part. I inherited a good organization and was in a good movement. And I happened to come along at the time in the 50s when there was a lot of changes, and led it through them. And the real heroes in the labor movement, not the people we talk to. It's you need to go back and get to Joe Jacobs and from the old school and let them tell you how it got started. And, ain't nobody ever want to beat my head except my wife up time, kids. Well, you had to hide, and it was really just a dirty name to be associated with labor. And but they started and built on, and then those that came along here, and the real challenge is going to be the people that's got to take it from them, and go.